Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to the Miles with Moms podcast. We are so happy you are here. I am Whitney.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Shanna.
And Trisha is unable. Trisha has a job. And so she's working right now, saving lives. That's not true. She's making lives better, though. Quality of life. But anyways, today we are going to talk about picking the right race for your season of motherhood and race day logistics with kids, which I'm very curious about for you guys, especially Shanna with 6 kids and you're like overnight, waking up super early. And yeah, I think we've gotten a lot of questions about race day logistics from people since we started this podcast. Which I just realized, by the way, guys, I don't know if you realize this. We are all going to Chicago, right? Mid-October. We're going to be there at our 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's wild.
I like that. Yeah.
I think we officially launched like October 15th or 14th or something like that. And
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So we're planning to do something like a shakeout run or something like that with anybody who wants to join us. So how's everybody doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Melting. I'm melting.
Are you melting?
Our mornings here have been so nice. Like, I hate to brag about that because I know everybody's melting, but I mean, we do get up to the 104 plus in the afternoon, but like the mornings have been 70 degrees here, and we don't have humidity. It's dry heat. It's insane. This morning,
like honestly, it's hard not to jinx it and just like wonder why, but it's never like this. Like one of the things about the summers here is that there's no crispness in the air. Like even at 6 a.m. you're not going to go outside and feel that. And but we've been having like really nice mornings, which has been so
That's
crazy.
Great.
Yeah,
I think so maybe we're just sucking like all the humidity out over here into the south. It is so, and I don't know. So when I don't adjust my paces for the weather. Like I try to hit them, and so then I'm like, okay, be proud of yourself that you hit him with this weather. And I'm really hoping that once it cools, which it really doesn't start to cool here until, around race day, mid-October. But we'll start to have like cooler mornings ushered in here and there. I'm just really hoping that you feel like I feel that pop of like, oh my gosh, the fitness has been there all along, And my race predictor will just chop 20 minutes off my time.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be I think it will. Like honestly, like just even this last like week and a half where like we've dipped from like the 80s or the 79s early morning to like just 70. I literally am like, I feel so good running this pace at 70 degrees. It's crazy. Like just how even like 5 to 6 degree difference can make such a difference on your body. It's
even just when I'm running and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's starting to feel like a slog, and I'll get into a little shady patch, and then I feel immediately better, and I'm like, okay, well, it's definitely the weather.
So true.
I have been reflecting a lot on something, Olivia, you said in one of our podcasts about how you really like hone in on the little details for your long runs and treat it like you would a race, because I have historically not really done that. And so I'm really trying to do that now with like just the little fueling, hydration, stops.
Yeah.
Just the little things to just kind of level up now that I'm like, it's time. Before I've just kind of been lollygagging around. I really want to use that word today.
That's good. I think it's I think it's like one of the most important things you can do. And I know that a lot of people, like there's been so much commentary about elapsed time lately, but like it really depends on the run for me, but anything, I mean, I don't like stopping. I really don't. Like, I'm just somebody that if you're going to go on a run with me, let's just keep going. I don't want to keep stopping. Like, every once in a while is fine. Like, let's grab some water. But I mean, I'm talking like, we're going to grab water and then we can keep going. Like, this conversation works whether we're running or not. So
Yeah.
I feel like, and I'm not, I would never judge somebody based on their elapsed time. However, it is, if you're wondering like, why does the distance seem so hard? If you haven't practiced it, like that would be that's a huge part of it. And like, I've always been like that. Like, time on feet is like even when I was, still training at way different paces, like it was always very important that that time on feet wasn't broken up, because I knew in a race I wasn't really going to be stopping, and because it hurts so much. Stopping hurts way more than just feet. Yeah, like stopping hurts. So yeah, I'm very big on that. But because then you can also work out all the kinks. Like for me, like when I stop even like, and I have a blister or something, that's when it hurts. Not while I'm running. It's like when I stop, I'm like, oh no, now I have to run through this instead of just continuing on. So
I think I started stopping when I was dealing with injuries, and I told myself that stopping was, it can't be stopping, and taking a little break can be good for injury prevention. And now it's just kind of like I have these little pit stops along my way, where literal pit stops where I'm like, oh, that tree is my tree to go pee on. Like it's like Pavlov's. Speaking of dogs, sorry.
Oh my gosh,
background noise. Nikki just dropped an antler. Nikki's my dog, in case anybody doesn't know that. I like see the spot, and then I'm like, oh, I have to go. And so now I'm like, you don't have to go, Whitney. Hold it. As Shanna said the other day, like, stop being a little bitch. You don't have to go to the bathroom. Lucy's go to the bathroom. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't say any of that to myself. But
yeah, let's clarify that to our listeners. We do stop and go to the bathroom.
If you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom.
I had to stop today. I was quiet for like 5 minutes, and I was like trying to debate whether it was really an emergency stop or if I could just hold it for another 15 minutes. And I was like, oh no, I better go now.
Quiet. We were like having like we're all talking, and then I was like, she's quiet. She's been quiet for a minute. Something's going on. She's got to go potty.
She's got her head popping out.
Yeah. So we came up on like the porta potty that's like this. I use this porta potty so many times because it's like where it's located is so random. Like it's like in between this construction area where a neighborhood's going in, but it's like not used by construction workers, because this thing is clean and it's stocked and it actually has hand sanitizer. And so that's how many times I've stopped at this bathroom. So sad.
Oh my gosh.
But like I do my workout over in this area because there's like no traffic over there. And anyways, I knew when we were going down the road, I was like, use that bathroom. Just use it before it becomes an emergency.
We're gonna start personalizing it.
I was just gonna say, one day I'm gonna go in and decorate it like a locker. I'm gonna be like, Shanna's porta potty. Get magnets. Picture.
They're like, it's posted on the St. George word of mouth. Who is this person claiming this porta potty? It's not for public use.
Oh my gosh.
Please do that. Please do it. I love this fluffy toilet seat lid cover.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I will say, sorry. It's so funny. I will say, I feel like practicing, this sounds ridiculous, but practicing like the logistics of going to the bathroom even during a race is super important.
Yes.
And because I've had to stop during a race. Sorry, on my end, the pictures are frozen. So I was like, are we still good here? But I've had to stop during a race, and I was like, wow, I did not have this down at all. So yeah.
I've never stopped during a race.
Like teaching yourself how to hold it.
I think that's why I've never also worried about stopping. It's because I've never had to go during a race, but I'm also a nervous peer. So before I line up, the world needed to know that about me. God, Whitney, like I go 10 times before I line up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Me too. Like it's not even actually there, and I'm like, wow, this was unnecessary to go in. But that's part of race day logistics. Like that is a huge part of it. Is like being prepared for things like that. Like I mean. Like I am big on bringing toilet paper because a lot of times you hop, like even if you get right back in line after you've already gone, a lot of times the toilet paper can be gone by the time you're back in and stuff. I think I'd stopped during that race during Grandma's Marathon last year, and I was just not prepared for like, oh my gosh, I've been running at this marathon pace where I bonked, which means I was going way too fast. I came to a dead stop, and then you're like having to pull down your shorts that have a ton of gels in them and just, it's like it's like the smells are the worst smells in the world. So I was like, oh my God, am I going to throw up? Oh my God. Am I gonna and throw up? Do I have norovirus now? Oh no, it's just the body. Okay, I can keep going. My poor husband like heard all of it on the phone too because I had him in my AirPods and I was like panicking, just like I'm pretty sure I yelled out loud that I was gonna shit myself. So yeah. If I think about it now, I was like, I don't know what to do. I was in full panic mode.
You need to now do a reel with those dramatic photos of you on the phone right before your DNF, where it's just like little bubbles. I'm gonna shit myself.
Oh my god,
man!
It's just part of race day logistics, But
all right, let's pin that, and we'll come back to that for the race day logistics. I do want to mention that this podcast is proudly sponsored by Cure Hydration. Guys, my family is no joke. I swear on my beautiful golden retriever right here's life. We have fallen in love with Cure Hydration. It is so good. My kids love it so much. It's so much better than any of the other ones I've tried. Eleanor brought it to soccer practice this week, and I'm guessing the girls didn't put their mouth on her water bottle. Oh, it was a squirty one. That's what happened. She said her friends tried it and they want to start buying Cure now. It's so good. Have you guys tried it yet?
Oh yeah,
I haven't tried it yet.
It's so good. Really good. It's really good.
I right now have the kiwi strawberry. I think that one's really good, and the blood orange is really good.
Oh, it is.
It is very good.
The watermelon one, and it's really good. And I'm excited to try it because they have a kids hydration line, which we haven't gotten yet, but it's coming. And I'm super excited to try that since Eleanor already likes it and Cal does too. But Eleanor is all about it. She did a little video that I posted and Cure reached out and was like, does she want to be an ambassador?
That's cute.
I said no, and she was mad. And she said, well, Mom, if Sephora ever reaches out, you have to say yes.
Yeah. I would say yes to Sephora. What are you talking about? Yeah. I'd be like, sign me up. How much free makeup am I getting?
Oh my gosh. I've spent so much money there for Eleanor. You guys can save 15% with code Miles with Moms. And the website's curehydration.com, but we'll include that all in the show notes.
I want to say also that when it comes to these ads and stuff, like I'm the biggest skeptic ever. And so when I'm like, oh, I really love this, because you can't convince me of anything. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, nothing. And I'm like, these are really good. I always want to be like, we're being for real right now. Because what we were based off of was being real with everybody.
Right. So, I'm not a liar. I'm not a faker. I am just not good at faking things. So
yeah.
What you see
I think it's always a win too when your kid likes it. So I'm curious, like when the kid line gets sent to us, I'm super excited to see if my kids will like it. I need to encourage them to drink water. I'm like all about that. Please.
Yes.
Just
if you're saying you have a migraine again, you haven't been drinking enough water. I don't care what color your pee looks like, okay?
For real. Yeah. I mean, yesterday we were at the water park all day and then rolled straight into practice when it's, the heat index is 108 and
Yeah.
Eleanor had the worst headache. And I'm like, yeah, we couldn't drink water when we were at the water park. We just, yeah, you're right. It is important. You need that light urine. I don't know what comes out of my mouth. All right. So let's dive into first, and just so everybody knows, I have to jump off in a little bit. So when I disappear, that's why. So let's talk about picking the right race for your season of mom life. I think this is so important because, especially as we can be influenced by what we see, friends we have, people in our running group, what we see on Instagram, and we may be in a hurry to try to do a certain distance or go after a certain goal, and we just might not have the life circumstances for that yet. And then that can just lead to feeling very frustrated or daunted or like, why not me? And it's a careful balance between why not me, but then also going for it, right? And so I feel like it's an important topic to kind of uncover what you should be looking for to know what is the right race for you or distance or goal or whatever. So I'm gonna kick it to Olivia to start. Well, because I know that you had that with Chicago, right? I mean, you were signed up and ready.
Yeah,
And
I
realized
signed
it wasn't
up.
right.
It's like the opportunity was there. And so I was always glad. Like, I still look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I took a chance on the lottery to try and get into it, because I don't think I'd be sitting here right now being so excited about like these big goals that I want to get at Chicago. Like, I don't think that that would have been fueled. And I think that signing up for a race while you're pregnant it's hard not to do because you have these grandiose plans and you also are like, oh, I want to accomplish these goals postpartum. I want to do this amazing postpartum comeback. But then I think the problem with doing something like that, and I would never discourage someone from doing it. It's like, especially when the opportunity is there, or like, say, for example, you want to do grandma's marathon. That race sells out so fast. And like, if you end up not doing it, it's a huge bummer, but you're only out however like $180, which in the moment I totally get it sucks, but once the day has passed, you'll be okay. Like it's so frustrating. I can't tell you how many races I have signed up for now, and I'm like, I am like, I'll go get a refund on something that was $9. I don't care. I am like that. But like these races, they usually don't refund, but they do have a lot of like postpartum and pregnancy deferral programs now, which is super, super, super nice. So, anyways, my point with that is like, I don't blame anybody for signing up for a race while they're pregnant. It's just sometimes postpartum can be very unexpected. And I think as much as like a lot of us have tried to reshape the idea of a postpartum comeback, it's very hard to not be in that mindset. Like especially when you're by yourself and you're with your baby and, you're just like, itching to get back into something or set a big goal, it's so hard to not like lean into that. And then like say that your postpartum is harder than you had anticipated, like you'll have that lingering race and it is very disappointing to make the decision not to do it. But I think it leads to such bad burnout sometimes. Like that was the point that I was getting to with Chicago. So I had signed up while I was pregnant, had these huge grandiose goals because I was like, oh, this postpartum will be different. Because with Grace and I had a really hard time running. And then with Charlotte, like I still had a hard time running. Like it just didn't feel right. And so I was pushing and pushing. And I mean, my kids were great nappers. And so I was like on the treadmill during their nap time. And I was like, I'm hustling, I'm grinding. And it was taking me forever to get these miles in. And it started to lead into like I'm not enjoying this process isn't super fun. I'm not like, it was like there were very sweet moments where I was like, I'm so glad she's getting used to me being on the treadmill, but also I was like, well, if I got injured, I wouldn't have to run this marathon. And once that started happening, I was like,
Yeah, that's a good red flag.
Yeah,
to
I
look
was
out
literally
for.
like, and because a big part of it is like you're worried about like your milk supply and all these things. Like I was worried about that. And then I'm still just out there grinding, grinding, grinding. And I was like, oh, I wonder how fast I could run 3 miles. And it was so unstructured to the point that I got so flustered. And I was like, you got to take a step back. Like you're not enjoying this. And she would have only been 6 months old.
That's
And
crazy.
as much as I could have 100% finished that race, the moment that I was like, my husband is driving to meet me at like the 14-mile mark during a 20-mile run. And so I could feed her. I was like, something's off about this. And
Mhm.
so I think really taking a step back and being like, what am I doing this for? Like,
And
I think,
what's the rush,
yeah, what
right?
is the rush? Like, I think all of us can always be like, we can be much more patient with this. And I think some of it is like, we worry that if we don't have a race, like, will we go out there and actually do the work? But
Yeah, some people do need that race to motivate them.
yeah. And so I think like, but why did it have to be a marathon? Like, I feel like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what's like, that was what the focus was. Like, I could have also done a 5K, run it in, 35 minutes, and I probably would have been unbelievably proud?
Mhm.
And
I think, yeah, it's like when you set your sights on the marathon, you really have to back yourself up from that to get excited for another goal. But there are so many goals to be excited about. And it's like,
Mhm.
choose one and then really try to get yourself pumped up about that. Like it takes some work and it's not going to happen on a dime, but if you signed up for a marathon and then you realize that you don't have the time for it, you don't have the support, your body's just not ready for it, you are forcing it. To me, like, because I have been one who has tried to force things, when you're forcing it, is just, it's not good, it's not going to end well. Like, you're going to lose
Yeah.
the joy, you're going to get hurt, you're going to be disappointed. um like, back up and take a beat and then look at what other distances, what other times, like what kind of process goals can you be proud of yourself for, and really just like go all in on that. Because I just,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just, I have a lot of athletes who come to me who sign up for a race when they're pregnant or postpartum, and they really want to do it, it's so momentous for them, but it's just, it's like the timing's not right. You did
Yeah.
it, you don't have all the information, and so you
Mhm.
have to be okay with putting that aside and just remembering, like, there's always going to be races out there, races are not going away.
I
Yeah.
think part of
I
it
think
is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I just wanted to just jump off of my experience really quick one more time, was that I was so new to marathoning before I had my children. And so being new to it and still not having all the information, that was a tough position to have put myself in. Was that I had run 2 marathons, which, I had learned a lot from, but it still didn't put me in the right. It didn't. Go away, honey. You are more than welcome to take over because I'm going to mute myself.
No, I agree so much with that. I think I don't know what it is. Like when we sign up for a race, why we think we still have to do it. Like it could be the cheap side of like, oh well, I just put this much money into the whatever the registration. But I think at the end of the day, it's more so a ego thing or
Mhm.
a pride thing, and
Or a
I think
fear of failure thing, or embarrassment thing too, maybe.
yeah, yeah. And whatever it may be, it's like at the end of the day, like if you're going into these races reminding yourself like this is for you. Like
Hmm.
there's no expectation, nobody around you. Like even if you put a goal out there, like I put goals out there multiple times,
Okay.
missed them twice at CIM. Like and they were big audacious goals and it would have been embarrassing, but then it's like why would that be embarrassing if this whole running thing is for myself? And at the end of the day, most people don't care. Like I could tell you after those races, like I had more people come back to me and be like, wow, like I am so impressed you took your family there. Or I am so
Hmm.
impressed that you made it to the start line. I am so impressed that you finished 26.2 miles as a mom to 6 kids. Like I had more support than I did have anybody say, don't get me wrong, I did have a few people that were like, oh, she bunked so hard at CIM and blah,
What?
blah, blah. Yeah, it's okay. We don't need to talk about them because they're not talking right now. So it's good.
Oh, I like spicy.
I know.
Log
they
on
don't
to
even
YouTube
listen
for
to this
what Shanna just did.
Yeah, right. They
if they
probably
do listen
studied
to
us,
this podcast, then they know who they are. But no, it was very far and few people that did have a negative thing to say versus the countless of people that were just so supportive and so there. Like, I'm sure, Olivia, you probably experienced that when you pulled out from OC Marathon. I think you had quite a bit of people that were there supporting you and just like giving words of wisdom or just like, hey, it's okay. Like, we all have those days. And I love that about the running community because for the most part, the running community is very wholesome. And I know like it gets a lot of bad rap on social media, but really, truly, like I've been in the running community since I was a little kid. It has always been supportive. There are the few that aren't, that are jealous or envious or want to make it something it's more than it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But they are so far few in between. And for the most part, like runners they just want we're all feeling it. We're all feeling the fear. We're all feeling the pressure of our goals. Like we're all feeling the excitement, the adrenaline, like we're feeling all the same emotions. And so I think just knowing at the end of the day, like if you have to pull out of a race, there's no shame in that. But I also too want to encourage like grandma's marathon. I can't tell you how many times I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again. And I was just so scared to tow another 26.2 after bonking my first. And the outcome was the best experience I've ever had. Like, I pray that I have another opportunity to feel a 26.2 mile race like that. Cause I was just on
I
cloud
was
nine the whole
amazed.
time.
You like
Yeah.
I've said countless times that was like the most beautiful, like every
Yeah.
mile was,
And
I
it's
don't know,
probably
like
far and few
26,
between.
26, like it was so gorgeous. Like you ran such even splits in that race.
Yeah, but like I didn't like I remember me and Olivia were talking about our paces and I was like I have no idea what I'm going to run today. And it's amazing like sometimes the races that you think you're not ready for, you absolutely are. And that's why for me I'm like if the logistics like aren't that you are injured or like the reasonings are like financial or anything like that, that's not the reasoning. It's just fear or whatever. Toe the line because
Yeah.
even if you have a bad race, like you'll never regret a race that you ran. I don't regret the two races that I bought or didn't do well on. Like I don't regret the races I didn't hit a PR. Like I was still glad that I towed the line and got to experience it. So I think just like I don't know. I just like I want to play devil's advocate on the other side because I think there's so many times where we can always feel like we're so not ready for it because we're runners, we're type A with like our training but at the end of the day it's like is it really because you're not prepared or is it because of just the underlining I wish I could have done more? And I don't know.
I think that's an important point. I feel like it's really important to be self-reflective. And again, like if the goal isn't serving you, the race isn't, or the goal of the race isn't serving you well, you're stressed out, you feel like you don't have the time or the support or whatever to adequately prepare, and you should know that pretty early on, right? But if it is like just fear of failure or you don't want to shoot your shot, I mean, it goes it goes back to like nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself. Like nobody cares about our running that much, right? I mean, so like I just, as far as like picking the right race, I've signed up for many marathons during injury, like, which is to me, like people sign up during, pregnancy. I was like so focused on, being a mom and whatever. I didn't think about that. But, I mean, I did, but not as much. But I signed up for so many races and I signed up for CIM because I was like, when I come back, I am going, like, I have heard only good things about CIM. And, I'm in Tennessee, and honestly, it was just too far, and I learned that. And Jake and I went out there, and it was fine, but I just didn't like being that far from my family. like
Yeah.
3 hours behind, and it just felt weird. And I don't know, that's like something to consider too. And I didn't like being gone for 4 or 5 days. I forget how long I went out there, but when you're looking at races too, like really think through that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
because I never expected that I would feel that way, but I just didn't like it. So now I mean, I probably, as far as I will go, is Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
That's a big part is I was gonna say, like, if you are signing up while you're pregnant, is think about what it'll be like traveling with a baby, even if it's your
Yeah.
first. Like, just picture, like, is this what you want to do? And I'm all about traveling with babies. Like, I hated when people were like, "Well, just you wait, you're not gonna want to do that," and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna go do it now." And
Yeah.
it's just like the one thing with Charlotte was that she didn't take a bottle, and my mom at one point she was like, "Well, the plan was always for my mom to watch Charlotte in the hotel," and she was like, "Well, if she cries, she'll just cry." And I was like, "Well, it could be, I was planning at the time to run a 4-hour marathon. That was like what I was training for."
Yeah.
And I was like, she could cry for up to 4 hours. Like, that was a
right.
little
It's a
bit
long
too much
time.
for me to handle. But it's like I also think my mom would. I think it would have actually been fine, like when I really replay it. But at the time, it was like really pulling on my heartstrings.
Oh yeah.
I think I completely agree. Like, if you are worried about the performance you're going to give at that marathon, or sorry, at that
Mhm.
race, that like it's definitely worth finishing or going and at least trying. Having that recent DNF, like it's very hard not one like even yesterday on yesterday's run, I was like, I I could have totally run my goal. I was like, I
I
can't believe I
know.
did that. But there was also a lot of positives that came from it. And like, if you are signed up for something and you're questioning it, at least go and give yourself the shot instead of always wondering the what ifs, because like the logistics of that race, they were handled. We had planned ahead. It wasn't like I signed up 2 weeks prior and was like, gonna try this one,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, so because you really don't always know what you're going to do. But and it's also okay to drop down to the half marathon. Like, most races will let you do
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
You
I think
know?
that's a good tip to give. Like, if you sign up for the full or you sign up for the half and there's a 5K, like there's so many options, and it's like it's okay cuz I know also like injuries do pop up sometimes in training too, and you have to take a step back, but say you're like still 20 weeks out or 16 weeks out, so you're slowly able to build back up again and whatever it may be. And I know that there's just so many unknown factors in a training block, but that it is okay to drop down. I love that. Like, I love that you mentioned that, because I think there, again, it's like a ego or pride thing where it's like,
Mhm.
well, I signed up for this and I
Yeah.
already put it out there, whether it's on social media or to your family or to your friends, and who knows what their reaction is to that already, right? And so it's like, oh, now I have to go run the 10K, or now I have to go run the
Yeah.
5K or the half, It's like, it feels like you almost failed yourself, but it's like, we're human. Like, we're
Yeah.
human. This is recreational running. It is a hobby. At the end of the day, it is a hobby. We're not getting paid for it. So it's like, and what? Like,
Yeah. And what?
I don't
So what?
know.
You're gonna have to
Yeah.
answer a few texts that were like, "Hey, how'd your race
Yeah.
go?" I think because that was like the one of the things about my DNF was like, oh, so many people were like, "Oh, have a great race," and people that hadn't reached out to me in like a long time too. But I happened to post about it, and then it's like I I wonder sometimes, like, should I have just dropped down to the half, or but I had no idea. And I think that's a good part of running, like choosing the race for the season that you're in, because we're not just talking about like being pregnant postpartum. Like, even now, like for us, it's important to pick the season that we are in. Like, you just did a track season, and so for you had to go through and figure out what races you were going to be doing on the track. And that, taking a step back and looking at like your long-term goals, like, is this a good idea to be running this race? And that it's okay, you don't have to run a marathon even once a year to be a marathoner. You don't have to run
Yeah.
a marathon every year to be a runner, like even a half marathon. Like, none of that is like what defines you as an athlete. And so, because sometimes I wonder, like, oh, am I going to be doing 2 marathons a year for the rest of my 30s, or
Yeah.
what's the plan here, you know?
So
And like,
true.
I'm like, that seems like a lot, and a lot on my family. And so,
Yeah.
as the kids get into school and stuff, I was like, wow, we're really going to be making some adjustments, but I don't think it'll be like this. As much as I love marathoning, I know there will be a time that I should probably focus on the half marathon and things like that, and so I think taking a step back and looking at like your actual long-term goals. And like when I was pregnant, I didn't do that. I was just like, I know that I
Yeah.
want to run Chicago. That was like embedded in me. But had I not deferred it, then I wouldn't have run it the next year and had a very like pivotal moment. So just crazy.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I love like how that kind of like played back to you, like where it was almost a better experience running it the following year, being
Mm-hmm.
more prepared, having more time under your feet. And I think that's the one thing we don't see on social media enough is like people are just like I just today I scrolled and I saw 5 people back to back marathon schedule. It's like Sydney and then I mean I guess not back to back, but it's like Sydney and then it's Chicago. And I've
Yes.
seen like
Yeah.
multiple people that are doing both of them. And I'm like, that like I was already thinking about it on the run today. I was like, can I do Chicago and then go and do CIM? And I was like, that's insane.
That would
Like
be
I'll
wild.
take what, like a week off, 2 weeks off, and then turn
Yeah.
around and have to just go right back into like marathon specific training to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it could happen.
You
It would
could.
be just fine,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, but for what? Like, because
Yeah.
I didn't run 2 marathons this year, and so it's so funny. Like, I think sometimes we forget that there are more options out there to like race other races and that it's not going to hinder if anything, it's probably going to help you.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to probably help you if you take a step away from the main distance, whether it's you race half marathons all the time. Maybe you race like 20 of them
Yeah.
and you're just like half marathon out. And I promise, like dropping down to the 5K or, going into a base mode, like, it's gonna all play out. Like consistency throughout the whole entire year is going to pay out. Like
It does.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think people think they have to race like all the time to like
Yeah.
improve and get better.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
take a look at our half marathons that we've done. Like, we don't
Yeah.
do them very often at all,
Oh,
mostly because of lack of access and then temperatures and things like that. But I mean, it's so funny because, like, if you really think about it, like, even if we do 2 marathons a year, we're not racing all the time. Like, we don't even have, other than like you had your track stuff, but that's like, it's a good gauge for where you are at, like fitness wise and speed wise, but it's not a good gauge for where you would be in the marathon at that moment, because it's such a different
yeah.
distance. And so we don't have a good gauge a lot of times of like where we would be at, even in the half marathon or the marathon, because we're not out there racing all the time, which, and I wonder sometimes if that's why the goals for our actual marathons are so big. And like for me, I have to make these like bigger goals and these massive leaps. And I'm like, it's because there's so much time in between them. Like, we're not doing it all
Yeah.
the time. And also, like, because a half marathon, it can be really hard on your body, even for that one day and then the week after, but like, we're not exposing ourselves to that often. And so, because sometimes I feel like, I guess the biggest comment I would get about like long runs is like, oh, you, especially towards like the end of a build, it's like 18 milers, 19 milers, 20 milers. And it's like, oh, do you need to do these 20 milers? And it's like, well, we haven't exposed ourselves to that crazy of things in a long time. It's not like we're doing 13 miles at half
Yeah.
marathon pace twice throughout the
Yeah.
walk or anything, So yeah.
No, that's such a good point. Yeah, when you race less, like you have almost like less opportunity to really like put yourself at that like redlining
Yeah.
zone,
Yes. Yeah.
And like honestly too, like within our training, we really hardly don't touch that because of the way our coach coaches us.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I agree. I think people just need to understand too. Like, I know it looks like everybody else is racing all the time, but for the most part, most of us aren't. Like, most of us have work schedules, we have family obligations, we
Mm-hmm.
have X, Y, and Z of reason why, like, maybe, like, again, race day access is not as accessible in your area, depending on what you're looking for. But I think just like reminding yourself, like, logistically, like, it's okay to plan things out well in advance. Like all my marathons are always like usually 6 months out that I plan. Like I know 6 months out in advance that I'm going to run this race. And it's because it is such a long distance. Like I think it's kind of been underplayed that like it's because we see it everywhere, but 26.2 miles is a very far way and it does a lot on your body outwardly and internally. And so it's like, I don't know. I just think people like it's okay to take your time to plan it. Like my first marathon build took 6 months. I trained for 3 months base training and then 3 months marathon training for one marathon. And so I think it's just like it's okay to put a goal way out in advance. If you're postpartum and you're 3 months postpartum, put that marathon out 6 months out. Like take your time building up that base before you go into the marathon specific stuff. Like it doesn't have to be 2 months from now, and there's so many other filler things that you can put in there in between. Maybe go do a time trial with a friend, or I don't know, have fun, sign up for some local 5Ks and just have fun and put your body out there and just get used to running 5 km worth of hard effort before you go into, I don't know. I mean, not saying that like everybody here is signing up for a marathon. So I want to make that clear. Like I know the marathon distance isn't the only, I just think it gets the most hype. And I think for like moms that are postpartum or pregnant or whatever, maybe coming back into running after a while, like it really is a real distance that is so daunting and like a lot on your body, and that like it's okay to treat it like that. I don't know.
I have talked about this before, like giving birth is the closest thing that or having a marathon, running a marathon is the closest thing that I have felt to giving birth. It's that same exhaustion. You are truly putting your body at like its max level of exhaustion that you can at that time, and that could be said for like if you've trained for 100 miler, it's what you have trained for, so that you're pushing it to that like max limit. And I think just we talk about the marathon a lot because we run the marathon. Okay. And but we are also 3 years post having a baby, which is very different than someone who is actively still postpartum or pregnant and listening to this. Like, I think it's just really important to put it out there that like you don't have to jump on the marathon grind immediately unless it feels good and it feels right, because there are like, that's why we wanted to talk about race day logistics as well. Like there are parts of that, like if you have a baby, and even if you're bottle feeding and you're not nursing and the baby needs to, like doesn't want to be on you all the time, like it might be very emotionally draining to leave that child for the time that you're doing the race, because mom guilt, it doesn't go away just because you're in a race. Like it doesn't. That's a huge factor of what happened to me at OC Marathon. I had insane mom guilt. It was crazy. And I like, my kids are 3 and 5 years old. How did that happen? So it's like, I think that's why it's so important to talk about that. Like these, like if you want to sign up for a marathon, but you're not sure if you should, like go ahead and sign up for it. But it doesn't mean you have to do it. There's nothing wrong with deferring. There's nothing wrong with dropping to the half, to the 10K, or not running it at all, just because other people did it, But if you feel, we had our amazing friend Francesca on, and she was, I don't even know, she was like 3 months postpartum and ran some insane race. And I don't remember the details, but it was insane. But it was also her third baby and she had planned ahead. So it's just one of those things where you really need to listen to your body and not worry about what someone else is going to think of you or what somebody else is doing. And just because they did it, you can do it too, or should do it too. And I always want to reiterate, like, as little as our kids are, 3 years is a pretty significant amount of time between having a baby and being able to put out, 50-mile weeks. It really is pretty significant amount of time to be able to build up and do that. So I think about that a lot, just with a lot of postpartum moms. And it's like, you can do so many amazing things because you just conquered the hardest thing that there is to do, which is push a baby out, or have a C-section, or however you had your baby. That's the hardest thing you're ever going to do. So like a 5K is going to seem like diddly squat after that. but
Yes.
like just
It's so true.
yeah. I watch your Medal Mondays or your Trophy Tuesday, whatever you're doing. And
I totally just
I don't know I don't remember what you called it. But
yeah.
it's like these moms are out here doing things postpartum and it's just insane. Like everybody's
Yeah.
accomplishing so freaking much. It's so cool.
Yeah. And there's like like time alone, like it's not even like the pace factor that's the wow factor, right? Like we're
Mhm.
talking about moms that have children, like
Yes.
mother athletes that are literally, or even father athletes. I know we have some male listeners on here that we are juggling it between so many other things, like so many other schedules, so many other people. And that alone is just impressive that we can show up for a run. Like it really, when we could really
Mhm.
honestly be sleeping or
Yeah.
having a slow morning for the once in a lifetime, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, it is. It's so inspiring to see. I think maybe like a good question to ask that you can start off is like, when you think about race day logistics, like how do you go about signing up for the races that you do? And like, what's like your thought process going through that? Cause I think that might be kind of interesting to see like why we sign up for the races we do, when we sign up for the races we do,
Mhm.
and if like the logistics adds up with our family schedule and stuff.
Yes. So Grandma's Marathon is a perfect example. So I had signed up for that one just because it was a bucket list race. Like a lot of people talk about what an incredible experience it is. And I had signed up for it, I think it was probably right after Chicago. And I had gotten an email that there were still spots available. So it was very much a little bit of like an impulse, like, I'm going to do this. But a big part is that my mom lives in Minnesota. So I knew that convincing my husband, it was going to be like, oh, let's go to Minnesota, visit my mom. I'll happen to jump up that Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it
I
was
love
on,
that.
and be like, Ma, I'll just run this marathon really quick. Okay, so the thing about Grandma's Marathon is that it sells out really fast, but lodging is very hard to find there. So you want to, if you're thinking about doing Grandma's Marathon next year, get on the lodging immediately. So a huge part of that is also like getting on the Facebook, and people will offer places and things like that. But the logistics of Grandma's are actually tough if you're not familiar with how quick all the lodging sells out. I know that like the U of M offers like dorms and all that stuff. And so I was like, uh-oh, I'm not going to be able to convince my husband that we have to stay in some dorms tonight, you know? And so I was like, it's fine. We'll drive up the morning of. But Duluth it was 2.5 hours away from where my mom lives. And I knew that I was not going to be wanting to drive up the morning of. But so we stayed somewhere like halfway up the road, but luckily childcare was taken care of because I had my mom. And so for me, for Chicago, my mom has now since moved. But if I was to end up bringing my children, sorry, if I was to end up I don't know, whatever I'm saying. If I'm going to bring my kids to Chicago, which I don't think I'm going to, my mom, she lives like 6 hours away from Chicago. So I know that she could either fly or drive in and still watch my kids. So when I'm choosing what race to do, I really think about like I have to contact the grandparents first to figure out like, are we bringing the kids or are we not? And who's watching them? And how is this going to work? I have learned that for me, it is better to not have my kids at the races. I am very much like leaving them in the hotel room is really hard for me. And like when I left Charlotte at Chicago, I was like, I felt very bad. Like I had a lot of mom guilt. Like, is this okay? Is she going to be okay? Like, is she going to miss me so much? She's in a hotel, but she was only 18 months old at the time. But it was very
Yeah.
like tumultuous. And so for me, like knowing that they're okay and everything, like with a grandparent, like in a home is a little bit easier for me to palate. And so it's like, I can't afford to fly my in-laws out or my mom out. Like
Yeah.
it would be on them. So I try to pick races that are very convenient to getting that childcare. So CIM, I already knew that the grandparents that my in-laws were going to be visiting that weekend. And so I conveniently was like, crazy, I'm going to be gone that weekend. Can you watch the kids? And they were already going to be there. So that's a big part for me, is like just making sure that I'm not making too many waves, being an inconvenience to everybody around me. And maybe when the kids are a little bit older, that might be easier. But my mom, mother-in-law, they love watching the kids so much, and so it helps that that's easy on us. But otherwise, we would just take them. Like, it would just be something that we'd have to really budget it out. And
Yeah.
my husband would be on kid duty, and we'd be very prepared for that. But yeah, it was a big part of when I did OC Marathon. Like, the reason I picked that race was because my sister-in-law lives in Orange County. Like, she lived like 20 minutes from the start line. And I was like, perfect. Lodging is taken care of. Childcare will be taken care of. And the race is right there. And I would really only be making a wave in everybody's day for like 3 hours. It would be fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I ended up not obviously finishing that one, but it was still convenient because we didn't like shell out airfare and hotel room and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's how I choose, is literally like, did someone already have a trip plan to me to visit, or are we conveniently going to be in that place and then I can go and run a race? Like, so yeah. What about you? How does it work for you?
It's pretty much like I sign up for the race and say we're going. No, just kidding.
I mean,
well, kind of kidding. No, I. Sorry, I'll be serious. I'll give a serious answer. And my husband doesn't listen. I'm just kidding. He's like, no, you don't. No, I think for me, it's like, especially planning it well out enough in advance to be able to afford it. Like, especially if we're going to take all the kids, we always we have doubled it now twice as a vacation too. So it's like, okay, we're going to go out there, but we're also going to go see this. We're going to go explore this. We're going to go play here, or we're going to go stop by families like in California. And so it kind of just like, it makes it almost like a family vacation on top of that. And I kind of like the same mindset where I'm like, okay, I'm literally taking X amount of time of my marathon time out of everybody's day. And then we just carry on forward, like as if I didn't race.
Yes.
For 26.2. I may be hobbling, but at least like I'm not the one that's getting mad that they're going too slow, because I'm the one that's back there going too slow.
It's so true though. Oh my gosh.
Usually I'm the fast walker in the family. So I think my family appreciates after I run a marathon, but they're like, oh, come on, let's go. Yeah. we gotta get there. But yeah, so I think that's probably the biggest thing, and logistically is the finances for us. Cause for me, like, I think it's because I have such performance anxiety. I've always had it growing up. Having my kids there is almost like this like buffer where it's like, I don't have the capacity to do both. And so my marathon almost gets put on the back burner of my brain. And then it's like mom mode the whole time. And so it's almost like it aids me in that factor. Like when we were out there in grandma's marathon, like I almost forgot. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go race tomorrow. This is crazy.
Yes.
Like it's happening. And part of me is like kind of slightly like wishing that weather is gonna roll through and
I know.
it gets canceled. But it does. It just keeps me less anxious until I'm like on the start line. Then I'm like, oh, this is happening. So I do like it for that, but I love because I feel like I don't want people to think like if you don't take your kids, there's something wrong with you. And I think that there's a lot of comparison in motherhood. Like, oh, well, she brings her kids, and it's like it's not for everyone, and it's not always the best for the kids either. Like some kids don't enjoy going and watching their parents race. And financially, it is a lot of money. Like I will never shy away from saying that. And so I think whatever works best for other people, like you lean into what is best for you and your situation, and know that like it is okay to have a race where your family's not there. If you want it to be prioritized, you want to be able to sleep really well, you want to be able to make sure you're fueling properly, because that's another thing that's really hard. Your kids want to eat everything you have, and you're like, I marginalized this out specifically to how many carbs I was going to get from this snack. And now I
Mm-hmm.
just gave you half of it. So where am I at in this
Yes.
math? Like, so there's a lot of things that are a little bit harder, and kids too, like they want to go play and you're like, I have to stay off my feet. So I totally understand why people don't take their kids. But yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. I just I have to plan it out enough in advance. That's why all my marathon races are like 6 months out before I do them, so that I know, okay, logistically, like how much money can we save up for this race, and how is it going to look as far as childcare, or are they coming with us?
Yes. Yeah.
And then I think travel fare. That's why I did CIM twice, is because travel fare is so cheap. I mean, we hopped on the good old Spirit airline, you guys. We made it. We're alive.
Yes.
And I think it's if it's affordable for you to do something more local or just a state away, like why not? Especially if you're postpartum or you're trying to get your feet back into the racing scene or you're going for your first marathon, like it doesn't have to be a world major. Like it could be anything. Like I had such a, beyond the bonking at CIM, like I really did enjoy the experience of my first marathon.
Mm-hmm.
I love the build. I love how convenient it was. I felt like there was no hard logistical factors about it. It didn't start at 10 a.m. Like there wasn't a very large crowd either. It was like a decent sized race. Just there were so many things about it that I don't know. I think it was a great experience, and it was on the cheaper end too. So, but yeah, I go through the financial side. And then also too, my next upcoming year's goals too, I kind of plan around logistically. So if you're wanting to next year roll into a spring marathon, I think it's good to okay, probably a winter marathon's not the best idea if you want to not do back to back. So I think logistically, just thinking about that too, and just the impact those training times can put on your family, because you did 2 back-to-back marathon. Well, I know it wasn't planned like that, but OC, and then you had to train continuously for Ogden.
Yes.
That's a lot of stress, not only
Well,
on you, but I'm
race.
sure your
Yes.
whole environment, right? Your whole family, just I'm sorry guys, I'm still going. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you did, because you deserved to have crossed that 26.2. You put so much hard work. But I think that's a point in case where it is I think people that do back-to-back marathons that don't have kids, it looks like it's easy. But when you have kids, it's your long runs, your workouts, they are just a big bulk of your morning. And so yeah, just maybe thinking that through before you schedule your next race, how close is it to this next goal that I have after that?
Exactly. And I that's a perfect example. I mean, okay, so Ogden, I did that one. I drove up the day before, got to packet pickup an hour before it closed. I left my kids with Shanna, and so I was there solo. And then, she had 8 kids to watch, which is wild.
It was fun.
And
it was so
crazy because there's a lot of moments where you're it feels very selfish to be doing something like that. But when you look at the grand scheme and you're well, I would do this for my friend. I would take all of her kids at the same time. It wouldn't even be a question. And then, my husband's at work and you're I'm just going up and I'm going to go run this marathon. But you put in so much time, you are allowed to go. And if it works best that your husband stays home with the kids or your partner stays home with the kids and that you go and you do this, I think that's perfectly fine. And there's nothing selfish about it. If it helps you have a clear mind, in a lot of ways, I feel I have to have the distance between being mom and being a runner. And it's when, it's just that on and off switch a little bit where I just don't have to worry so much. I knew they were fine. I knew they were having the time of their lives. And so for me, it didn't feel super selfish to go and do this because they were having so much fun,
Yeah.
And I think that's also just taking that part into consideration where are you putting yourself in a position where you're going to be worrying about them the whole time, And so if a local race is easier to do, that's okay. Go for it, you know? And like, it does not have to be a world major. It doesn't have to be massive best crowds ever, but do research about it. Like, don't pick the smallest race ever that doesn't have any, they don't provide water cups. That would be, you're just setting
Yeah.
yourself up for disappointment, So I think that's a huge part of it, is like making sure that you pick the right race for you, which we've talked about a lot, about which races are going to end up working out the best. And I totally forgot about Ogden, that I had done that one. So that's a perfect example of like, it's okay to also go take the time for yourself and just do a 1 or 2 day trip and just go and enjoy yourself. Like the Oh, yes. Segueing then into
Yeah.
picking, if you're going to do a marathon, knowing ahead of time that you have to have long runs at least one day of the week. It does not have to be Saturday. It does not have to be Sunday. But, I think a lot about like, what if my husband was like just starting to be a firefighter? Like he would be in his rookie year or in the academy. Like we would not be able to both be doing what we're doing. And so there's
Yeah.
seasons of life where, you like the half marathon might be a better distance for you because your longest runs might, depending on how you're being coached, your longest runs might be 10 miles. And that would be so much more manageable if like your husband has, or your partner has a different type of work schedule than he normally would or something like that. So just being prepared, I guess, for that season of life, if you have anything, and then things are unexpected. So being flexible. I think that's the number one thing about being a mom, is you have to
Yeah.
stay prepared to be flexible.
Yeah.
Soon.
No, I totally agree. I think again, like I think it's good to have like a little bit of a break, a change of scenery from the distance you normally train. Just like even on your family, like I feel like during my track season, because I took time away from the marathon, it was like my husband got to go out and do his like F45 more in the morning. Like he actually, I think he was going like 4 or 5 times a week, and then he was also doing runs in the morning because I'd be done like at 7, and I was like, wow, like that was a really short workout. I don't need to wake up so early. Or I do go and do them in the evening a lot. I did a lot of evening workouts during that build. And because the workouts were literally like they were like an hour long. And so I could, I just put my half my kids down and then I'd go do a workout and come back. But yeah, I think it's sometimes like it's a good break on everybody, even including yourself, to kind of change it up. I do think somebody asked about like logistics of like if we do bring our kids to a race, like what does that look like? How do you prep for that, or how do you like help make it a little bit more manageable? Do you have any tips? Because you've flown with your kids too quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I get, so much of it depends on their age. Um,
Yeah.
I will say the hardest one was I brought only Charlotte to Chicago. So I left Grayson and he stayed home with his dad. And then I only brought Charlotte. And I'm not sure why I did that. I don't know. Because she was a lap child and you could you can decide at the last minute if you're bringing them or not. But it also felt a
Yeah.
little bit wrong to not bring her in some ways, just because she was my like training partner throughout that whole thing. And she was,
Yeah.
like she was there. And not that Grayson wasn't, he was there too. But, I had deferred the year before. And so bringing an 18-month-old to a race was psycho. It was like, why did I do this? And I'm in the hotel room by
Yeah.
myself with this toddler, and she is
That's
crazy. And
crazy.
so like they are very hard to put to bed at that age and stuff. And in so many ways it was the best thing I could have done. It was like, it really snapped me out of like race day nerves and things like that, because my whole day was just about taking care of her and having her be happy. And I'll say this, I'll say this on my deathbed, but Chicago was the most kid friendly city I could have ever gone to. Everybody was,
Really?
yeah, people were holding the
I
doors
love
and
that.
like they were, everybody was helpful with the stroller. If there was like 2 steps, like I had 2 people come and help me with it. And
That's
it
so
was just,
cute.
the Midwest is also just, people are just so friendly. And so
Yeah.
with that being said though, is we were very prepared. I was very prepared to be sleep deprived. I was like, okay, what time am I waking up? What time am I prepared to go to sleep? Like, so, I started my bedtime routine with her really early. Thank goodness, obviously, hotels have blackout curtains. And
Yes.
that's huge. So we started probably around 5:30 because I knew she took about 2 hours to fall asleep. And so she fell asleep probably around 7 p.m. the night before the race. And that was huge. It was such a game changer for us. Because then I was able to go to bed by like 8. And then, of course, she woke up when I woke up to get ready for the race. And, it's making sure that you're just starting things so much earlier, I guess, than you expect. Like, have it planned out where you're going to eat. Is it kid friendly? And are you
Yeah.
going to be able to eat what you need to eat? As much as you're prioritizing taking care of your kids, you have to prioritize yourself too. So it's okay to go get the kids food and then go somewhere else for yourself or bring your own
Yes.
food. Like, even if that seems weird, and there was so much of that I was doing where it was like, okay, this is what she needs, but here's what I need too. And same with any time I've traveled with the kids, it really helps snap you out of like the race day stuff because you're so busy with them. The one thing that happens when you travel with kids the day before a race, though, is you are on your feet so much more than you want to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say, like, when we did CIM, I didn't bring my kids, but we went to see a movie beforehand, and I was like, see, the kids could have been here for
Yes.
this. Go plan out a movie, or, like, I don't know. It's hard to find activities where you can sit, but yeah,
Yeah.
like the beach or wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So just being really, really prepared. If you want to use melatonin the night before, oh, all right, you take it from here. What do you do?
All right. No, I totally am going to piggyback off of that because that's pretty much what we do as well. Like when we brought our kids those two major marathon races, oh, her little face looks so sad. Um, we did the same thing. We kind of just like planned that in advance. Like with Minnesota, we ended up driving out there, which I like look back and I think about like that was so crazy because we were literally on the road for like 2 weeks. I swear. But it was so much fun because we stopped at all these different KOAs, and they had like we purposely stopped at specific ones because they had like pools and things like that, like a lot of like arcade things and entertainment or things around the KOA that was a lot of fun for the kids. And then yeah, like we looked into like indoor playgrounds is what we did at CIM, like before advanced, like we stayed up in Folsom for that reason because we are like, oh well, there's tons of like indoor playgrounds that the kids can play in. I can sit while they're playing for a few hours, get their energy out. And yeah, I have no shame in saying we're the melatonin family when it
Yeah.
comes to like big things like that. Like I don't get my kids don't need much. They only need like half a dose of what is even recommended and it just calms them down. Like but it's great, especially if you don't use it all the time because it will really hit your kids. But we did that before CIM. We started bedtime routine same around like 5:30 and we just gave them half a dose, let them
Mhm.
body calm down because they're all excited. Hotels are always so fun for kids. And then they were out by like 6:30, 7:30 at the latest. And they slept pretty good. And then, the race starts early. That's another logistics I would think like people should look into. Like, what time does your race start? And does that make sense for your kids? Like, if it's a later start, what is that going to look like for that morning? If you need to go get breakfast and things like that, plan that out in advance. Like for us, our hotel didn't have breakfast that early. It was like 4:30 or something like that. So we ended up getting breakfast, like things like oatmeal, things you could put in the microwave and stuff, like breakfast sandwiches. The night before, my husband went to the store and got all that. And so we just made that morning. We just like
Yeah.
rotated through the microwave. Which yeah, I think about that. I'm like, I made 6 kids breakfast even on my marathon race.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yes.
so funny how that works.
Oh my gosh.
But I know motherhood, I swear.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I think yeah, just like planning out like things that are around you. Like, okay, what do they have around us? Do they have things where I can sit? Because it's totally doable, but I agree. Like you are on your feet still. It's a little bit harder to prioritize like hydration because you're constantly just focused on your kids and are they fed? Have they ate? They're hungry. But if you're like I don't know, routinely like every 2 hours if you're eating, your kids are probably hungry anyways. So I just like, if I'm eating, they're gonna eat, even if it's a couple bites. Like, but yeah. And then we also did the same thing too, where like they got their own food for dinner, and then I got my own thing for CIM. Because it's just, yeah, like they sometimes they don't want spaghetti, or they don't want pizza again. They want something else. So I think it's all, yeah.
I was going to say, this is the time too to communicate with your partner. This is what I'm going to do. It's like not a negotiable. It's just, this is what I'm going to do. Here are your options. Like if you want to go do this, like if you want to, because that's how things work. I have to do that with my husband, because otherwise he thinks that we're just going to like go grab a pizza the night before or something. I have to be like, well, you and the kids can go do this. I'm going to bring this, or, you know, over communicate what your plan is and what the plan is for the morning and things like that, because it will feel selfish, but it'll feel a lot less selfish if you are, because it's not selfish. It's not. You are allowed to, every mom is allowed to have like one morning where it's just about her. Like,
yes.
Like if everybody's overly prepared though and has heard the plan 1,000 times, it'll be so much easier to execute. And that's fair for you. Like as much as like, you know, like, yes, you made your kids breakfast in the morning, but also that's part of your normal life anyways. Like, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get dropped off, or I'm going to go catch the bus. I'm going to do this at this time. And then that way everybody's prepared for it. I was going to say, as my kids have gotten older, they are pretty aware of what's going on. You know, there's obviously a ton of confusion all the time with like my long runs. Like they are constantly asking how my marathon was, and there's like a lot of confusion, but they're aware of what is happening. Like we're all preparing for a race at some point, you know? So over communicate, like whoever is with you or whoever's watching your kids, over communicate about what the plan is, you know? And because otherwise, I mean, that's in my partnership. I'm sure he'll love that I said partnership.
I agree. No, I agree, because like I think some of my most biggest frustrations, like there will be a few fights on these like trips. These trips are it's like fine and dandy. I feel like people think it's like peachy perfect, but it's like it is still stressful. You're still stressed because you still are building up for your biggest race you've been training for the last 5 months. But I think over communicating is such a good tip, because it literally just like it puts it out there. Like, because I've sometimes fallen in the trap of like, how does he not know that this is a thing? And then I'm like, oh wait, he's not a runner. Like he's not like a person that's training for a marathon. He doesn't understand the logistics of what that all looks like. And I should be off my feet for the next 2 days, and that I should be eating so much carbs. You know, he doesn't understand that. And so communicating that with them so that they're on the same page could just resolve so much conflict, because I will say, like, I have had my fair share of moments where I'm like, wow, I was a bitch. like I remember like before getting picked up at the bus where we had to go walk up to our bus at CIM, and I was like, this is so stupid. Why are they making us walk? We're about to run a marathon. Like, this is so dumb. And I was in the car and my headphones wouldn't connect to my phone. And I was like, this is so freaking frustrating. And I like tossed them on the ground. I was like, I'm just gonna have to play my music out loud. And my husband was like, man, you're so on edge. And I was like, you don't understand, you know? But I thought, like, sitting on the bus and I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Like, he doesn't if I don't communicate. And I think that's so good. Like, I think it will make your trip so much better if you do travel with your spouse or your kids.
Yeah.
Just well in advance. Like, hey, this is what the next 2 days leading up to my race is going to look like. This is the activities that we can pick from so that I'm not on my feet all this time. And that's mainly because I'm racing this big race. And this is the food that we'll go eat. If you want to go get something else, that's fine. But I need to eat this, you know? I think that's so good to put out your like needs and your priorities out there before you get to that point.
Yes. You have to. Yeah. It's, I mean, oh my gosh, it's like even yesterday, I told my husband I'm supposed to pace this race, and he was like, you didn't tell me that. And I'm like, I Why do I remember it? So it's not even until the end of October. And I was like,
Yeah.
why do I know that you have work? Because we've had this conversation so many times. And so I was like, oh, I needed to have said this like the past 2 weeks and just be talking about it over and over again so that it's a normal part of our conversation. It's like why I talk about my long run on Saturday. I'll start talking about it on Tuesday. I'll be like, oh
Yeah.
boy, I'm so excited about my long run. Oh, I can't believe I have another easy long run. And I'll
Yeah.
just be looking at my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, my coach just sent me my long run for Saturday. And it's like, at least to put it out there like 10 times so that it's not a huge surprise. It's like, okay, well, I said it, but it's the same. He has to do the same thing for me. If there's a pickleball tournament, he'll have to tell me multiple times what day it is, what time it is. And,
Yes.
am I going to go watch? Do you want the kids there or are they too distracting? Like, you've got to tell me because otherwise I might show up and you might not have wanted me there because it wasn't.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of things like that I'm like, oh, it works both ways. And yeah, I think what's so fun about you is like, I always have to think about the fact that you have kids in such big age ranges. So the entertainment factor for you
Yeah.
is you have to find things that will entertain like your oldest kid's age to your youngest. So, well, I guess it was still 9 and 3, or like at the time they would have been 8 and 2 for CIM. And just finding the entertainment for that whole age range, that's tough because like for us, we're still at the point where we can do like parks and,
Yeah,
kind of try
get away with it
things
still.
like that. So yeah, I mean, it is hard, but planning ahead, like, I mean,
it is a lot of work.
Yeah. But it's like, that's anything with kids. So that means it's manageable and it's doable. So
yeah. I totally agree. And if it's the cheapest option for you guys not to bring them, don't bring them.
Yeah.
Like we're not bringing. We're 99% sure we're not bringing them to Chicago. It just I don't want to pay that airfare flight. That just sounds insane. So it'll just be me and my husband. But I mean, it doubles as a couples trip.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say
couples trip sounds great.
It'll be good. I mean, it's good, and it's good for your kids. No, it's good for them to go because then they can see you firsthand, experience it, and it's also good for them. For me, I never saw my parents date. Like, I never saw them do anything. Like, we never went and did anything like that. And I mean, you always I always wonder, like, did my mom want to, or maybe they didn't go because she didn't want to, And so, like, I think it's good for kids to see that kind of thing too. It's just really hard because once the race is over, like for me, I missed my kids so much, and
that's all you want. Yeah, you just want to hang out with your family. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Because they also like nothing humbles you like a child. They'll be like, I know you just ran.
You don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care what pace you ran.
Yeah, they really do.
Ask you about your medal, and then they'll ask if you won, and you'll have to tell them no, and then they're just unimpressed at that point forward. They don't really care.
It's true. My DNF, my kids could not have cared less. I came into the house crying, and they were like,
"Yeah,
we thought you'd be gone longer. Can I still watch my iPad?"
Oh my gosh. I was about to say, I think it was you that I was talking with that said that their kid loves when you have long runs and races, right? Because they get their like special like privileges.
That's their like
only for those time.
Yep. It's like,
I think that's genius.
It's so funny because that's when they get whatever snacks. Are you kidding me? They're like, right now, I think Grayson's watching YouTube. He hasn't been allowed to watch YouTube in weeks because my husband's been home. I've been able to do some long runs outside. And so
that's so funny.
It is so funny. And I'm not anybody judging that he's watching YouTube. It's kids YouTube and he's watching like, it's fine. Don't judge me. He's fine. He's a very nice boy.
He's a very nice boy. He's very well mannered, unlike my twins.
Yeah. Right. Are you kidding me? Don't listen to anything she says. Her twins are wonderful. And my son just becomes the third twin, which is absolutely hilarious. Those boys are smart though. Boy,
They are so smart.
It is so funny.
All of them.
Yeah.
All three of them together is just double trouble, triple trouble.
Yeah. It's so funny to think about what they'll be like in a few years. Like just we got to hide the lighters and matches because something will get lit on fire at some point. Them with sparklers on the 4th of July, you're like, oh, huh.
That was terrifying.
It's really interesting in the future. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I actually need to retrieve my phone to do our mom shout out. I'm going to holler. I'm going to make myself really quick and then holler for Grayson to bring me my phone.
Okay, I'll pause.
Yes, Betty. Grayson just came in here and he just asked if he's going to see your twins later. So, yes. Okay. I am going to give, this is a shout out to Danny Botts. Okay, please be quiet, honey. So Danny is a twin mom of 3-year-old boys. And I'm so glad that Danny, that you sent us your bio because you are incredible and you are worth shouting out.
Yeah.
And so she wrote, I started running my senior year of college nearly 10 years ago. I was a sprinter and jumper in high school track and field and played volleyball in the fall. Distance running, that was my husband's thing. I never understood his passion until I gave it a try, and I was hooked. I ran my first marathon in 2019, crossing the finish line in 3:52, completely unaware of what feeling was. It was definitely a learned experience, and I knew I had more in me. Fast forward to January 2022 when we had our twin boys. Exactly 1 year postpartum, I came back stronger than ever, running my second marathon in 2023 with a time of 3:26, about a 30-minute PR and a Boston qualifier. Unfortunately, I didn't make the cutoff that year, but I was determined to qualify again. In 2024, a stress fracture sidelined me from racing, a tough setback both mentally and physically. I stayed patient, focusing on strength and nutrition, and came back in May of 2025 with a marathon of personal best of 3:17, earning a Boston qualifier again. Boston 2026 is on the horizon. This journey has been about more than just times. It's about resilience, growth, and the belief that even after setbacks, childbirth, and beautiful chaos of motherhood, the best is yet to come. That's amazing.
That is and she said she wasn't impressive. Like, what?
I know.
What?
Yeah. That's wild. First of all, 3:17 is amazing, but just like having twin 3-year-olds is already a lot. I can't even imagine. I mean, you can, but I like that part. And then injury, like it's amazing.
Like the mental injury does. We already talked about that. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. So cool. I'm so glad she got her BQ.
I know. Seriously.
That's awesome.
I feel like we could do just episodes of reading mom shout outs. Like every time I'm left.
Would be so fun.
It's just so cool.
Even like have it be 20 minutes. Oh, we need to talk about this.
Yeah. We really do.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I just like this is like the stuff that it's like sometimes I think about what I think about when I'm digging deep, and I'm always just like, these are the types of things when it's like, we always have so much more in us. Like we just have to give it a try. And that's the perfect example of it, you know? So you're amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, thanks for joining us for this podcast episode. We're going to go off and parent our kids. Hopefully our house is not half burnt down, but we'll see.
Oh my gosh.
We'll find out in a second. Stay tuned for next time. If you want to find out what condition our house is, you have to come tune in next time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, we could do a whole series on that. While I was podcasting, this is what happened. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I know. At one point just now, Charlotte had come in and I was like, is that chocolate on your foot? Is it blood? I don't know. That's why I was like, you have to come closer. I don't know. It was chocolate. Yeah. So that's good.
Oh man.
That's good. All right.
Well, thanks everybody. We hope you guys are all having a good week and we will be back next time.
Bye. Bye.